I thought, you know what, hockey is coming back. Finally. The exhibition games are, the day that I'm recording this, are currently a day away. In about 3 hours, it'll be July 28th, the start of the exhibition games before the Stanley Cup qualifiers. Now, personally, I have a few concerns with the exhibition games. We're going to go through the exhibition games. We're just going to talk hockey for a hot second now. I'm going to bring back the podcast. It's in hot demand right now. I know that, yes. But I thought, let's just talk hockey for here. Just talk hockey for a few minutes. I just have just a few concerns about the exhibition game. Now, let's start all the way back in March. If you don't know why the NHL is having exhibition games in July, then you've been living under a rock for a few months. The reason we are having exhibition games is to warm up for the August Stanley Cup playoffs. Owen, August? What do you mean, August Stanley Cup? No, it should have been March, April, June, July. Did I miss May? January, February, March, April, May, June. I missed May. Never mind. There is a whole thing called the coronavirus, COVID-19. Now, obviously, if you're not a newborn, you know what is happening in the world right now. That is a huge issue, still. And if you don't believe that, you're part of the problem. I'm sorry. There's no convincing stupid people that anymore. There are a lot of risks with this that we don't know. Today, I found out the MLB is having a huge problem. There was, I believe, the Miami Marlins home opener was canceled, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if my facts are 100% correct, but I know something was canceled, and it has to do between Miami and Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very much wrong, but I knew something was canceled, for sure, because of COVID cases. They've had interactions. Obviously, I think the MLB is doing it terribly. You're letting teams travel city to city, country, or not. I guess Canada isn't allowing the Blue Jays to play, and the Blue Jays are using a different city currently. But you're allowing these different teams of a bunch of players and equipment guys and camera guys and coaches and scouts and all that is traveling city to city. COVID is a highly, highly contagious disease. Very. People kind of forget that. It's like that. The whole world came crumbling down within months because of it. And society has changed, and it kind of feels unreal that it's happening. The MLB is taking it terribly. I think they're handling it terribly. There's no bubble city. Now, on the other hand, you have two of the other big North American sports in the NBA and the NHL. I think the NHL, out of all the North American sports, are doing it correctly. Yes, Europe and football and them have it down pat. New Zealand seems to be doing pretty well. A lot of European countries seem to be having it under control right now, and they're kind of back to their regular lives. The NHL, as I just said, I believe they have this more down pat than the other teams or the other sports. The NBA, I believe, introduced the bubble idea. It's like, let's go to Disneyland. It's Florida. Why would you go to Florida? Especially during this, I don't understand. It's kind of mind-boggling to me that they would pick Florida. Is there not a Disneyland in California? I don't know. I've never been to Disneyland, so don't hate on me, okay? But the NBA, the players act like they're in prison. Legitimately. They're away from their families. They're in prison making millions of dollars. I get it. They're humans. They're sad that they're away from their families. I get it. But they seem to be taking it way worse than hockey players are. Not saying that there's hockey players are so much better, like my sport more. No. I'm saying I haven't heard much outcry from the NHL players like I have seen in the NBA, like, I miss my children sort of thing. I don't know if I don't know what I'm saying, but it's a very interesting parallels. It's weird because the MLB is doing it so differently, and the NBA is doing it differently, and the NHL is doing it completely different from the other two. And I think all of them are doing it terribly. Now, apparently, there's workers that come in and they do their jobs, but they're not in the bubble, and then they're supposed to be following social distancing rules, which you can't force a person to do anything because people are stupid. That is very hard to follow, or to believe your workers that are getting paid minimum wage. You can't enforce those kind of rules and expect everybody to follow them. Very contagious disease. You're putting lives of a bunch of millionaires and professional athletes at stake, and their families at stake, of less quality of life because this bubble city. When I think of bubble city, I legitimately think of a bubble around a city. Like, you quarantine the hell out of a city block. No, nobody's allowed in, and once they're in, they stay there for the time duration of the playoffs or whatever they're doing. That's what I personally think should be done. Yes, you have your hockey players there. It's confusing as hell because teams are just arriving in Toronto and Edmonton, but wouldn't it make more sense for them to have come 2 weeks ago to quarantine for 2 weeks to be sure in that bubble? I'm not sure. But getting back to my original point, these exhibition games, that's why I talked about the MLB. The MLB begun. And honestly, quietly they begun. I forgot baseball was starting back up because it's a whole problem in the MLB. But that happens every single season when I'm like, oh, the MLB started. It's terrible, I know. I'm sorry. But the MLB has contact now. We know what happened. It's terrible there right now. Manfred, or their president of the MLB, is like, no, it's no problem. It's a problem because they're not taking it super seriously. The NBA is starting up their exhibition games as well. They're doing that. I'm not too sure about their cases, but now you have the NHL, and they haven't quarantined for 2 weeks. They're coming in from different cities, different lives. Every person walks a different path, right? Talk to different people, interact with other people, right? And they have families that talk to other people, and they talk to their families, and it's a whole terrible pitched idea. I'm not saying the playoffs should have begun. I'm just saying they could have done this a whole lot more secure. Now, the NHL, these exhibition games will be teams' first contact with other teams. You know, they did practice, and you even saw cases coming out of those, because every player's not like, it's not like one player is just going to infect a player from the other team. They're going to infect each other, right? Because disease, duh. They're about to have exhibition games, and it could go not the best. It could go pretty wrong. If we see cases right out of the gate, that is going to suck. Obviously, I don't think they're going to shut it all down. But I'm saying if they had taken precautions a hot second ago, or made it more strict, this would have been a whole lot. It will be a whole lot better, because I expect we're going to get a crap ton of cases in the next week for the major league sports. Now, obviously, exhibition games, those will be fun. I'm happy as hell that hockey's back. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I would love to be a positive Polly, but I'm a realist. I understand that things happen. And this league is going to chug along. I know the NHL, I believe the NHL is the best dressed league right now going into their postseason. What's the word? Festivities? No, that's not the right word. You have 3 games tomorrow: Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Toronto, Montreal, and then Edmonton, Calgary. That'll be fun. I'm going to watch. I'll get home from work at 7 o'clock. I'll turn on the TV and I'll watch Montreal versus Toronto. I'm pretty sure it's streaming on Sportsnet, if I'm not mistaken. It better be. Like, are you kidding me? I just have a bad feeling that something could go terribly wrong, because this is the NHL's beginning. They're re-upping after months of talking about, oh, this shouldn't happen, we should do that, blah, blah, blah. It's happening finally. It feels like years ago. Remember when the NHL shut down, Tiger King was an actual show? I never watched Tiger King. I heard it was good, but I was watching Grey's Anatomy. I'm sorry. So, man, it's gonna be a ride. I wish everything would go out with a hitch, or go on without a hitch, but I know that's not how life works, and I know it's gonna get a little difficult, and I know that we're gonna have problems, and that was my only problem with the exhibition games, that I know things are about to happen, and it's not gonna get better. I don't think it is. If it does, then I was wrong, but I have a weird feeling that we might be in a little bit of a situation. I think the playoffs will continue. I'm just saying it could get a little worse. So, I mean, I'm excited for the playoffs. I have some videos going up after the exhibition games, playoff predictions, all that, or the qualifying games, or rounds, I guess, if you can call it that. It'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm just worried that it's not going to be 100% perfect, and I get it that it won't be perfect. I'm just worried, you know, just worried. It is what it is.